Hey, what's up, everybody? I decided, just do a quick video about, because looking at like YouTube videos and stuff, and it was talk about, all weekend about, teams like purposely like tanking, and plus, most of the teams that's like in the bottom are being like investigated, including the Milwaukee Bucks. I don't know why like certain teams are being looked at, especially if they're the ones like the outside looking in the play-in tournament, which I don't think they should look at them. But
Makes you wonder, don't it?
yeah, it does make you wonder. It's like, okay, the Bucks pull out like trade deadline, although it wasn't huge, but it looks like it was a big reward. It was like a low risk, high reward. So like I understand some of these like you know I would say the head of NBA and stuff like that, their front office and stuff like investigating like teams that's doing that. Um, but it wasn't like this problem before. But think this last video that I saw, they was talking about it has a gambling problem, which I don't get why coaches, players, and stuff like that are gambling a lot. And but I said they make millions and millions of dollars a season just to play, and they just ain't being smart with their money. So I just think there's some of these players that it's just silly. It's like, don't you think a lot of people will be killing over like trying to get like millions and millions of dollars a year, just to either play or like just invest in what y'all get what I'm saying? But all of that money is like and you like carelessly spend it, especially for like some younger people. Like then again, like back in the day, you get like, okay, I want to buy my mom a house.
Well, I get
And,
that, like the younger players who, they've literally come straight out of college, where they were taking out loans and all this sort to pay for their, schooling.
right.
I understand them going crazy when
Mm-hmm.
they get that check, because you would. I don't care who you are. You're gonna go
Oh yeah.
nuts. You're gonna be like, I'm buying my mom my house. I'm doing this. I'm doing that. I'm going to Vegas. I'm doing this.
Right.
But it seems like some of these seasoned ones are like they're not thinking about their future.
Right. And this is a thought I just came up with, and I'm thinking like they should have when they start like drafting like guys to come to the NBA, whatever. They should have like a finance person.
They probably do, but I don't think it's. They probably said, okay, you need to, sit down with a financial advisor, but then it's like you've got to find your own. Do you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. But yeah, I just think they probably need like something like
They
that for
need
the young
more.
people. But for people after they like players get off their like rookie contract, then they try to go for like the big money, whatever. Because I believe in like people like work hard, play hard, and stuff like that, just to you know get in a better situation, help their team win, and maybe like win championships. So yeah, I believe in that. It just I don't know. It's just like I'm like confused on like what they are they like some of these teams like just tanking on purpose, or some of these teams are not tanking, because you can look back into the example of, like I was just telling the missus here. You had the Bucks when Giannis was there as a rookie. They were, of course, not only they were the worst team in the NBA that year, that they had the worst winning losing record in the franchise history. And they didn't end up getting the number one pick. They ended up getting the number two pick. So it's like, how can somebody tank? And it's just like, because this has been going on for the NBA for a very long time with the lottery pick. So how can any team actually purposely tank when it's not going to be guaranteed they're going to get the number one pick? They're going to get the number two pick or something like that. So I guess some of us was thinking like when it comes to like the lottery draft and picking stuff like that, is already fixed. So it's like, why is it bad now? I guess because like they enter in like the gambling things and all that crazy stuff. So it's like NBA trying to go like global, like going to streaming services instead local TV and stuff like that. Like, don't get me wrong, they still got like NBA games on local TV like ABC, but maybe they should do more, in my opinion. Like maybe show some NBA games on CBS like they used to in the '60s and '70s, or go to whatever. But it seems like But don't forget they also are doing games on NBC every Tuesday, and Mondays is streaming on Peacock. So that's something. But I would just say get CBS into it and have them show like some games. It ain't got to be always like a weekend game or something like that. Maybe what, like, okay, go to CBS and be like, okay, we don't mind if y'all like show like Monday's games and do that. Like I said, there's nothing wrong with streaming. Like, it's a good thing because if I like miss a game, I can always rewatch it. So that's the good benefit of streaming. But it's like uh,
That made no
Alexa at her
sense.
best. Oh my lord. Hey, I thought you was unplugged. It is funny. She came back with a reaction like, "Yes,
Oh, fuck
I'm
this
back."
bitch.
Oh my god. But I guess I'm kind of a little bit of defense but I'm okay with it at the same time for them like investigating some players, because they were showing like examples on some of these YouTube videos from these YouTubers about like how
How even some of the players are noticing that
yeah,
some teams are deliberately losing.
exactly. It's like you go in beginning of the season out like you want to make it to the playoffs and win games, make it to the playoffs, win championships. So that would be the goal. But I don't think people would look at like some point and be like, oh, during early and like middle of the season that, oh, okay, we gonna be this bad, so let's just get worse. It's just, I guess part of me just thinking like it don't make sense, but other part of me is like, okay, it does, and I kind of understand it. But yeah, it's just getting like more like confusing, especially like these past two seasons with you know teams. They do end up losing. They get the number one pick, then like all of a sudden they lose. Like Cleveland, for example. Like I said, with like the Bucks end up getting the number two pick, and for like two straight seasons, Cleveland Cavaliers had the number one pick, and you're thinking like, wait, is this fixed? And his thing was like Cleveland, those not the season like when the Bucks were the worst team in the NBA, but that season before I think they were like next to last into that season, like they were the other season. But the crazy thing was, I think they got Anthony Bennett when that first season it ended up being the bust, and they ended up getting Andrew Wiggins, which they ended up trading to later to Minnesota just to get Kevin Love. It's just one of those things. It's just like it's kind of weird, although the NBA is blaming teams for like tanking, but at the same time, should the NBA just be to blame for some of the stuff they doing?
It's a whole different ballgame if you're talking about that.
Yeah, that's true. It is, but just like okay, this is like you're thinking about blaming other teams, but the problem in the beginning is the NBA itself. So
Yeah, the NBA have allowed the teams to do it in the past. That's what it is.
hmm and especially like your bottom three teams are like could be possible getting the number one pick, and and I think it was the case scenario. I think it was it this past draft that Dallas Mavericks ended up getting the number one pick, and they had a bad record, but they wasn't like in the like bottom five. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
They was nowhere near the bottom five, and they like just end up losing. So the problem is the NBA itself. So first off, they got to look into like what they're doing wrong. Then afterwards go after these other teams and seeing what they're doing. So it's the inside job in the NBA that should go after like first when they trying to get all this. I know they had a meeting this past weekend about this tanking, but just to be honestly, I think the NBA got to look into themselves first. But they probably won't do that because they think they're so perfect. And this, it's just been like all about money. That's all it is. Especially like NBA ain't gonna go broke anytime soon. Either before they made these streaming deals and all that stuff. They was never gonna go broke. It just wanted more money. And some of these owners are like kind of to blame too. Like these billionaire owners and like worry about when they have like a losing season, they tell like some coaches like to personally tank or whatever like that. It's just stupid. I don't know. It's just like I just think some teams just not worth being investigated in, especially like some of them like they're
No, I think all of them should be investigated.
well all teams.
All of the teams should be investigated for ethics violations and that lot. Shake it all up. If you're going to set the groundwork on a few teams, do it for them all.
Oh, okay. I
Do
get
it for them all.
I get
So
what you're saying.
it's a fair sweep all across the board. Like, no, we're going to come in and we're going to find out everything. On every freaking team there is. Don't cherry pick which ones you want to do. Because let's be perfectly honest, just call it what it is. The Bucks could be deliberately losing with Giannis being injured. Do you know what I mean? They could have deliberately been losing. Like, okay, Giannis is out. We might as well tank it and see if we can get a better thing in the lottery. Okay,
Right.
fair dues. And if they have been, then shame on them. Seriously.
Right.
But do it for all the teams. Because you know damn well there may be some teams who are told not to deliberately lose every game, but you know what, lose against this one because then we can do this, this, and this.
Right.
Lose again. You know what I mean? Do it against all of them and shake up the whole freaking foundation from the bottom up. Literally shake it up from the bottom up.
Yeah, you're right. You're right. Cause
And
like
instead of each team having their own doctor, like the team doctor, have the team doctor for regular making sure everybody is okay. Okay, Giannis is doing this and he's going through that, yada yada. But have a freaking NBA doctor who is not affiliated with one team. That is bought in for each team. Do you know what I mean? Like the NBA says, okay, you guys are gonna get Dr. Jones from Florida, who's gonna be dealing with you up in Milwaukee. Dr. Chen from California is coming up to deal with Minnesota Wolves. That sort of thing. So you have got an independent person who is not associated with that team signing off
right.
players.
I do agree with that because
Instead of having your own team where you could say, look, just sign him off so he can rest for a couple of days. Fuck that bullshit now.
right, because that is a good thing because that has been they called it load management back then, but for the past few years you don't see that as much now. But I do agree with her. Like they should investigate all teams instead of just those certain ones that's tanking. Because there could be times they could be but it's like the final game of the season. Like there's some teams do that the rest of their players to prepare for like the playoffs.
That I get.
Yeah, I guess part of it you do get, but I guess part of me just thinking like they should still play like in competition for like
They should. Because I ain't spending my money to go watch a team tank.
Right.
because they're choosing to. If you lose because you were playing like shit, then you were playing like shit and you've lost for that reason.
Right. Right. Exactly. But yeah, let me know what you guys think. Comment below on like what you think about it. But before we like end this, we do know about NBA trying to expand, do the expansion this year. But I don't know if the plan's going to have them do it like this year, but or they're going to have the team start the season, not this coming season, but the season after. Maybe that's the case. But so yeah, two teams will you know, be added into the. It'll be now to be 32 team. Um, Everybody think Vegas should be the number one thing, or Seattle should be number one. So or both Vegas and Seattle should get the team. Okay, so here's the thing. I thought about this, and I thought about this early this morning too. That you're gonna have two teams if you get Seattle and which they do deserve to have a team back. Then you got Vegas. So if them two end up getting a expansion and end up getting like a team, what's that gonna do for the Eastern Conference? So so that's gonna be in like a messed up situation. So either you're gonna end up trying to move like a two teams to the east, or one team to the east, one team to the west. So I don't think that idea, and I don't know if they really like look at this, but I know fans is like it should be Vegas and Seattle. I think it should be one of them in the West that should get a team, but a team it's got to be like an Eastern Conference team too to balance it all out, because that doesn't make any sense unless they change their mind and like okay we're gonna do four teams. So
You never know.
yeah, if they end up doing four team expansion, makes more sense. Cause what was the last expansion they did? When they bring back Charlotte and had the Bobcats, then later now back to their original name, Charlotte Hornets. Cause it was like a 29 team at the time, and then again New Orleans was added into the mix. Like going from Charlotte to New Orleans, and they were the Hornets, and now they're the Pelicans. And added Oklahoma City as well when they moved from Seattle to Oklahoma City. So besides that, it's just like just looking at it from a different perspective, it doesn't seem right. You can't have like two West teams, then you have like 17 teams in the West, then you have 15 teams in the East. That doesn't make any sense. So I think they really got to look hard and long, like
They
which
end up kind of shaking up the divisions, I bet you, if they do that.
my personal opinion, they should have did it how they did it in the like '90s until they decided do this like three what's that division standings instead of like they just do two, like Central Division and with the Eastern Division, then you have the Pacific and I forgot what they call the other West one for the division. I forgot what they call it, but yeah, they should go back to that again. And if they're gonna add these two teams, it just, in my opinion, it just doesn't make sense. It really doesn't. But what is this ESPN news? Oh, okay, they just talking about nothing but the Spurs. But anyways, just more lightly, it's gonna be either Seattle or Vegas that's gonna get one team, and there's gonna be somewhere in the East that's gonna get like another team. So comment below who y'all think who should get the second team in the East, and because getting two teams in the West and putting it that way is not gonna make any sense, and it's not gonna look right. So, because I know some of y'all just think about it now, both Seattle and Vegas should get a team. But just the truth of the matter, it's got to be one East and one Western conference team just to balance it all out. Because you got to look at it with a different perspective. But anyways, y'all comment below. Let me know who y'all think should get the team in the East. And also like and subscribe too. So like more content like this, we will put more out there. So please subscribe. Try and get to 1,000 subscribers, and when we get to that, we will start doing giveaways. So please subscribe. Also check out the website wrestlingfanspeakout.weebly.com for like updated like events for wrestling wise, and also videos like this and all other stuff that we got going on that page. Thanks to our sponsors, and thanks to who we are sponsoring as well. So get to check them out. Midwest Wrestling Collectibles, Great God Sports Cards, Salmon Championship Wrestling, Maddie's Mary, and PPW, Phoenix Pro Wrestling. So they do got like segments on our website as well, so look for them. And thank you guys for watching. Man up, woman up, face up. Check in on mental health. Seriously, check on your mental health.
And don't be a fuck.
Until the next video, you guys have a good one.